Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Since its trailer dropped last week, my social media timelines have been filled with memes and hype, and I'm totally here for it. And hopefully you are too, which is why you're watching this video, and why I'm pleased to say I got a chance to play the game, record some of it, and am able to give you my thoughts. Without wasting any of your time, let's just jump into it. There were some things when I was playing that stood out to me, and I've been wanting to talk about them, so we're just gonna do that up front. First off, even though we haven't had any real confirmation of Cid, like an official image or something so far, I did see this in the background of the stuff that I was playing. So, at least the Highwind is in the game. I expect then that Cid would be there as well. I'm assuming, based on what we know of the game so far, that Cid probably will end up being a bit like Red in that he's there, and he's definitely around, but not an official member of the party until maybe next game. Speaking of Red, oh my god, so I was riding my Chocobo, and while doing so I noticed that Aerith was sitting side saddle, so I was like, oh man, I wonder how all the different characters ride their Chocobos. Y'all, look at Red. Just look at him. I laughed for like 5 minutes. I don't know whose idea this was, but that's brilliant. And while we're over here in the world of Chocobos, yes, you can get them, you can ride them, you can customize them, but you can also armor them. I'm not saying I spent a significant amount of time messing with this, but I did, and I know for a fact there's Chocobo armor coloring enthusiasts out there who, like me, will spend a lot of time on this. And then, for all of you making those shampoo commercial jokes about Cloud and Sephiroth slow-mowing their hair in the trailer, that is one of the new synergies. You just can't go wrong when you have a chance to use them. They're really neat. Synergies are just a new feature that's akin to limit breaks that trigger the more you use unique abilities. So they encourage changing up the character you're playing or your party members frequently, as each pair of characters has their own synergy. But both characters have to be ready to use it, if that makes any sense. You can't just like sit on Cloud 90% of the game and expect to use synergies. And then more synergy abilities will unlock as you level up, sort of a like, we're bonding experience kind of thing. Each pair has different combos with different effects, and it's definitely worth a deep dive once we get our hands on the game for real. And yeah, I'm aware I said 4 things, but I lied. Here, without context, is a 5th thing because it is ridiculous, and I love it. So hey, I think it goes without saying that Final Fantasy VII is gonna be a different beast from Final Fantasy XVI. A game that was much more serious in nature. So let me remind you, both can be good. I enjoy both, and you can argue in the comments about which type of Final Fantasy is better, but we all know the correct answer, Final Fantasy VI. So what are some things I can share that I'm not sworn to secrecy about? Well, first and most obvious is that everything you loved about Remake is here in Rebirth. The visuals, the gameplay, the music, oh my god, the music was stuck in my head for a day or two after playing. If you loved all that, it's back. And getting into the groove of gameplay again was pretty simple, although it's probably definitely worth going back and getting refamiliarized with the mechanics of Remake. Plus, while you won't be able to bring your saved characters over from the previous one, if you do have a save file on your console, you'll get a bunch of bonus materia that will add to a better start. In the bits I got to play, I did a portion of Nibelheim, which was that cool scene you see in the trailer with Cloud and Sephiroth. The stuff that I got to play, of course, included a young Tifa and totally random soldier guy. It was very straightforward, similar to how some of the missions were in Remake. It was just go from point A to point B, and there might be some things along the way to explore, but really you're just going down a hall and then fighting a boss. I then got to play the more open world section of the game, which, you know, I say more open because it's not true open world. It's like open zone. Something that reminds me more of Final Fantasy XIV or Final Fantasy XVI. There's monsters around and mini objectives and points of interest and things to hunt, but it's not huge. And I'll be honest, I can't really tell you how big it is because there were a lot of paths that it was like, sorry, you can't go this way during the demo. So honestly, I'm just kind of guessing at the overall size of what I played. It's big enough to run around on a Chocobo, but it's still contained. And it's big enough that you can set up Chocobo stops, which are found by following baby Chocobos, and once you prop up a sign, it's a nice fast travel and a place to rest. So I don't really have a sense of the scope of the nature of the game, but when it comes to the scope of the storytelling, I do know a little bit more. It takes place immediately after Remake, and we have some clear confirmations from the trailer that we're going to Costa del Sol, and we'll see the Gold Saucer and do all the mini games. We're definitely doing the Junin arc. We have some talk about weapons in the game, and I'm also hearing no Wutai visit, yet Wutai will be in the game in some form and some sort of presence as the Resistance or whatever. Maybe that's also being saved for the third game. We've also got cultists in robes still wandering around, and then those ghosty things, not to mention the Zack story element that may be a part of this whole thing now. Suffice it to say, the path is going to take some interesting and winding turns, but the end result we know for sure is that Rebirth culminates in the journey to the Forgotten Capital, where I have a feeling the true nature of whatever the hell this game turns out to be will be revealed. If that last statement made no sense to you, great. Go play the remake, stay away from Final Fantasy VII spoilers for what is to come. To say I'm excited for this is an understatement. I think because it falls directly into that gaming space I love, where they dropped a mystery right in my lap, threw in enough twists and turns. I have to know how it ends. I'm compelled to find out, and so I'm in until the end. I need to know what they're thinking and what this story actually is, and that is why I am intent on finding out when this game drops, February 29th, 2024. I'm sure you'll be playing it yourself, or I'll see you on a stream or whatever, but this is gonna be wild. I'm very excited.